This video is proudly sponsored by Gamersgate. Download games anytime, anywhere. Visit Gamersgate.com.
You are doing the right thing, Joseph.
Shut up and drive.
Resistance 3 concludes the Resistance trilogy on the PlayStation 3, as it surpassed the first two and end the series on a high note. With the first title taking place overseas, and Resistance 2 being set in the West Coast, Resistance 3 rounds out the experience with levels ranging from Oklahoma to St. Louis and finally New York City. Players assume the role of Joseph Capelli, the private who killed Nathan Hale in the previous title. Beginning with Capelli and his family in hiding, the Chimera soon stage an attack. As the survivors escape, Capelli is recruited by Fyodor Malikov to travel with him to New York to stop the Chimera once and for all. With the promise of a better life for his wife and son, Capelli reluctantly agrees and heads east with Malikov.
Go.
You'll do your best, right?
Right.
I love you.
En route to New York, players will encounter numerous other groups of survivors, some friendly, some not. The journey is constantly plagued by Chimeran attack, and the game does a good job of slowly introducing new enemy types, along with new weapon types designed to even the playing field. Gameplay is standard first-person shooter fare with a few on-rail vehicle segments on the linear path to the story's conclusion. Resistance offers variety with the inclusion of numerous weapons of Chimeran origin, along with the usual lineup of human weaponry, and this variety is easily the strong point when it comes to gameplay. Players will rarely find themselves sticking to one type of weapon, as doing so severely hinders one's ability to combat the Chimeran invasion. The gameplay extends to the multiplayer modes, which includes the expected series of killstreak bonuses, perks, and loadout customization, though the latter is somewhat limited compared to other current offerings. Multiplayer maps are designed well enough, but the entire experience is a bit rough around the edges, in that it doesn't exceed expectations, but rather just barely meets them. And seeing as Resistance 3 requires a paid online pass for anyone who buys the game used or rents it, we expected something more refined and polished. As it stands, the multiplayer is decidedly average, falling short of the single-player campaign, and not worth the extra money if you happen to just rent the game. Visually, Resistance 3 soars over its predecessors, which featured an oppressively gray and brown color palette. Resistance 3 substitutes the dreary environments of the previous games for ones filled with pleasingly contrasting pastel colors, a visual aesthetic that extends to the Ollie Moss box art. Graphics are crisp and highly detailed, and performance was excellent throughout, though there were a few times when the game glitched up and we couldn't continue, forcing us to reload our last checkpoint. Resistance 3 goes out with a bang, standing as the best single-player experience in the series, and one that's worth playing even if you haven't played the others. Unfortunately, the multiplayer fails to impress, and that, combined with the restrictive online pass that damages used sales and rentals, prevents us from recommending a full-price purchase. The game is worth renting for the notedly short single-player campaign, but nothing more.
Susan, you there?
I was just gonna call you. A guy just walked into town. Says he knows you. Get a few drones following him. I've got everyone underground just in case.
No, we won't be safe underground. We have to evacuate the town.